Hello, my name is Dr. Robert Arnone. I'm a head and neck injury specialist practicing in St. Charles, Missouri, just outside St. Louis, focusing mainly on concussions, the concussion injury, post-concussion syndrome. Answering a question here today about preventing concussions. Can we prevent a concussion, or is there more we can do than we already have been taught or that we're doing today? And the answer to that is yes, but I'm going to explain something first and then we'll get to the answer, which is very different. It's something you've likely never heard before. So hang in there for a couple minutes. First things, people don't realize that we think of concussions in sports, and there are a lot of concussions that happen in sports. There's a lot of moving around, a lot of contact, so therefore that's an area we're going to see concussion injury, and we do. But actually, the number one cause of concussion is a fall that happens outside of sports in many cases. So like a fall down the stairs, a slip on the ice, car accidents as well. But different falls are the number one reason. So when we look at things like what are we doing now to prevent concussions? Well, we're gonna put football right now in the spotlight, even though it does happen in ice hockey and lacrosse and soccer and other sports. But right now we're just going to focus on football, where there's hit after hit after hit. Okay, we put pads on and just hit each other. Practice all day, and then game time comes, there's more. So what are they saying to do about that? Well, let's look at the equipment. Let's try to get better equipment as best we can and monitor and do tests before and tests after. You know, we have these impact tests and the King-Dedek tests and the different tests that we do. But actually, is there a way to do better than that, than what we're doing? So we look at things like limiting the number of hits. Okay, that can help some. Or heads up, or better form, right? So hitting with your chest and your shoulder and taking your head out of the hit. Hitting people at the numbers or the waist and not at their head if possible. So again, those things are good. But we're still seeing a number of concussions and a lot of injuries. And the other end of that is after they're injured, what's being done to help them? So we're going to cover kind of all that real quick on this. So what's going to happen is this. It's pretty simple. I'm somebody who was injured many times, had a lot of health problems as a result, and it was not until I was fortunate enough to be taken to a doctor who focused and specialized in the head and neck injury. That's when things turned around for me. I was shown the injury, it was fixed and corrected over time properly, made me stronger, and not to mention, I mean, it took away all the problems and the symptoms and the health problems I had. So my life completely changed over 20 years ago. Now I get to offer that to others, and it's a great feeling to help others. So what we do is, it's pretty simple. We've noticed that every concussion injury, we've found the injury at the base of the skull, top of the neck, when there's concussion. 100% of the time. I've never not seen it yet. So what happens is we do different tests to analyze and prove that the problem is there first. And if it is, then we can help fix and correct. So here's the thing. If this is in the wrong position, there's pressure at brainstem, which feeds and supplies the brain. The head does not sit properly on the neck. That misalignment, that shift, is a instability. It's a vulnerability. It's a susceptibility. And just because you put on some shoulder pads and a helmet and you bang heads, an hour or two a day for a couple of weeks, does that mean you're ready to go play in a game? Does that even mean you're ready to practice? We talk about the best way to do this is, before you put the pads on, let's make sure this is stable and strong. Okay, so we do this with testing. If it's not, we can tell if your child is vulnerable, susceptible, and we can help correct that and help them have a better chance of not even having a concussion in the first place. We see people after concussion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've seen more concussions, and we're able to help in most cases. Some are easier than others. It varies. But by far, parents, if you could listen to this and understand this, we could help your kids get strong here, properly realigning, properly creating stability before they ever have the injury. Wow. Now we're talking about much less of a chance. Think of it this way. When they're misaligned and unstable, which can happen from birth and falls and bad posture, like on the phone and sleeping a certain way and watching TV and fall asleep on the couch and all these different things that happen, injuries, falls, it adds up. Eventually this thing is in a bad spot. So now we're going to put their internal resistance about here. Okay? External forces. So you have a slightly little hit, maybe they can handle it. But we start to get a little more in force, right? Maybe it's hard to handle, or they can't handle it. And then anything above, they're not handling properly. So they're operating from down here. They don't have a good chance of being able to overcome a lot of injuries. What we do is we get them stable and strong, so we raise the internal resistance. So all these other hits are not going to be enough to do it. Now, a big injury, a big hit, yeah, that'll do it. So that's why we say we can't guarantee that they'll never have it, because we don't know what kind of force they're going to sustain. But we could at least put them in a position to handle it better. It's by far the safest and best thing I know to do in the world of concussions today. I've been studying this for over 20 years. It changed my life, and now I'm fortunate to help others. If you have questions about it, reach out to me. Put a comment in the box associated with the video, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. Until then, take care, and God bless.